You slept a full 8 hours last night, maybe even 9. And yet this morning, you woke up feeling like you barely rested at all. If that sounds familiar, you are not imagining it, and you are definitely not alone. Here's the thing. After 60, the rules around sleep quietly change, and nobody really warns you about that. For most of your life, 8 hours felt like enough. You woke up, you felt ready, but somewhere along the way, that stopped working. And instead of understanding why, most people just assume something must be wrong with them. But here's what I want you to know right from the start. Feeling tired after a full night of sleep is one of the most common things people over 60 experience. And in most cases, it comes down to a handful of quiet, overlooked reasons that are completely worth understanding. So today we're going to walk through those reasons together, slowly, clearly. And by the end, you'll have a much better picture of what might actually be going on. Let's start with something that surprises a lot of people. 8 hours in bed is not the same as 8 hours of real, restful sleep. Think about it this way. Imagine you spent 8 hours sitting in a chair that was slightly uncomfortable. You were there the whole time, but you weren't truly at ease. Sleep works a little like that. As we get older, our sleep becomes lighter. We spend less time in the deep stages of sleep, the stages where the body actually does its most important repair work. We wake up more often during the night, sometimes without even remembering it, and those small interruptions add up over hours. So by morning, the clock might say 8 hours, but your body only received maybe 5 or 6 hours of truly restorative rest. Here's a gentle question worth sitting with. When you wake up in the morning, do you feel like you surfaced from somewhere deep? Or does it feel like you were just floating near the surface all night? That feeling of floating, that's your body telling you something. Most seniors are surprised when they learn this next part because it's something that happens so gradually, you almost don't notice it happening at all. Our bodies follow a natural rhythm called a circadian rhythm. Think of it as your internal clock. It tells you when to feel sleepy and when to feel awake. After 60, this internal clock shifts. It often moves earlier. You might feel sleepy by 8 or 9 in the evening, and then find yourself wide awake at 4 or 5 in the morning, even if you went to bed late. This isn't insomnia exactly, it's a shift in your natural rhythm. And fighting against that shift by trying to stay up later or sleep in longer can actually make the tiredness worse. The body gets confused when we push against our own natural timing, and a confused body doesn't sleep deeply. It just goes through the motions. If you're still watching, go ahead and type 2 in the comments. It helps me know this is reaching the right people. Here's something many people don't realize. Mild dehydration is one of the most common and most overlooked causes of morning fatigue in older adults. By the time we reach our 60s and 70s, our sense of thirst becomes less reliable. The body doesn't always send a strong signal when it needs water, so we go through the day and the night slightly dehydrated without realizing it. And here's what that does. Dehydration thickens the blood just slightly. The heart has to work a little harder to push it through the body. Oxygen delivery to the brain slows down, and when you wake up, your whole system feels sluggish before the day has even started. Something as simple as drinking a small glass of water within the first few minutes of waking up can make a noticeable difference. Not a large amount, just a small, quiet habit. This is where things quietly go wrong for a lot of people. It's not dramatic, it's just a small daily gap that slowly adds up. Let me share a quick example. Margaret is 73. She lives on her own, she's sharp, she stays active, and she walks her neighborhood most mornings. But for the past year or so, she's been waking up exhausted. She was sleeping from 10 at night until 6 in the morning. 8 hours exactly. And yet by 9 in the morning, she was already ready to sit back down. What she eventually realized, with a little help, was that she wasn't drinking much water after 4 in the afternoon because she didn't want to wake up at night to use the bathroom. That made sense to her, but it meant she was going to bed mildly dehydrated every single night. Once she started having a small glass of water in the morning and another with her afternoon snack, her energy in the mornings slowly started to feel different. Not perfect, but noticeably better. Small shifts, real results. Here's a calm but important realization. Sometimes tiredness has nothing to do with sleep at all. It has to do with what's happening in the hours before you ever close your eyes. What you do in the 2 hours before bed matters more than most people realize. Bright screens, televisions, tablets, phones send a signal to the brain that it's still daytime. The brain responds by holding back melatonin, which is the natural chemical that helps you fall into deep sleep. For younger people, the body can sometimes compensate, but after 60, melatonin production is already lower than it used to be. So that evening screen time creates a much bigger disruption, and it's not just screens. Late meals, certain medications taken at the wrong time of day, or even a stressful phone call with a family member in the evening. These things can all quietly raise your alertness right at the moment your body needs to be winding down. Think about your own evening for a moment. What does the hour before bed usually look like? Is it calm, or is there more stimulation happening than you might have noticed? You don't have to overhaul your entire routine. Even small adjustments, like dimming the lights an hour before bed or stepping away from the television a little earlier, can gently improve the quality of your sleep. This is a gentle topic, and I want to approach it carefully. Many people over 60 take one or more medications daily. That's completely normal. And some of those medications, while absolutely necessary, can have a side effect of disrupting sleep patterns. Certain medications can cause more frequent nighttime waking. Others can suppress the deepest stages of sleep. And some can cause what feels like fatigue during the day, even if you felt like you slept fine. This isn't something to worry about, but it is something worth knowing. If your tiredness feels persistent and you can't find another explanation, it's worth having a calm, simple conversation with your doctor or pharmacist. Not to change anything on your own, never do that, but just to ask whether timing or any other adjustment might help. Your pharmacist, especially, is an underused resource. They know medication schedules well, and they're often easier to reach than a doctor's office. If this makes sense to you, type 4 in the comments below. Here is the last piece of this puzzle, and it might be the most quietly powerful one. Your body sets its internal clock based on light exposure, particularly morning light. When you spend your mornings indoors, especially in darker rooms, the brain doesn't receive a clear signal that the day has begun. That means the rhythm between your waking hours and your sleeping hours stays slightly blurred. And a blurred rhythm leads to blurred sleep. Light, unsatisfying, and not fully restorative. Something as simple as stepping outside for 10 minutes in the morning or sitting near a bright window while you have your tea or coffee gives the brain the signal it needs. It says, the day has started, the clock is set. And that evening, when your body returns to sleep, it does so with much more clarity. Gentle movement during the day also helps. Not strenuous exercise, just walking, stretching, light activity. Movement helps regulate blood oxygen, mood, and the depth of sleep at night. Margaret, from our earlier example, added a 10-minute morning walk to her routine, just 10 minutes. And within a few weeks, she noticed she was sleeping more soundly. Not longer, just better. Length isn't everything. Depth is what restores you. So let's take a quiet moment to bring this all together. Feeling tired after 8 hours of sleep is not a sign that something is seriously wrong with you. It is a sign that your sleep, not your effort, not your discipline, but the quality and conditions of your sleep may need a little gentle attention. Your body after 60 is not broken. It just works differently than it used to. And understanding those differences is the first step toward actually feeling better in the mornings. You don't need to change everything at once. Pick one thing from what we talked about today. Maybe it's a glass of water in the morning. Maybe it's 10 minutes near a window. Maybe it's a conversation with your pharmacist. Just one small thing, that's all. And if you found this helpful, I'd genuinely love to hear from you in the comments. Tell me which part resonated most, or share what you've noticed about your own sleep. This is a space where your experience matters. If you'd like to see more content like this, practical, calm, and made with people like you in mind, you're welcome to subscribe. No pressure. Just know that there's more here for you whenever you're ready. Take good care of yourself. Rest well. And I'll see you in the next one.